It's that look. It's that look right there. That look like test me, mother. Yeah.
And then there's a little old lady.
Knives for sale. Subverting expectations.
It's just clearly fan fiction.
But Loki, it wouldn't have been as exciting for the audience.
We're dedicated to a higher purpose. We're fighters for truth, justice, and the American way.
Doesn't this blend of blindness and blandness want to make you do something crazy?
Boy, do I have a surprise for you.
Castle.
This is a magic house.
And the one wizard powerful enough.
Greetings and salutations, everyone. Welcome to Talk Hard. I hope your Tuesday is well. I hope you are doing well as we get ready to talk about a great film, Howl's Moving Castle. And I tell you what, it was a blast. It's my first time watching, so you will definitely get that perspective as well. I know Ironcaster, you have not seen it in a while, and Anime Night had all sorts of love for it, so he's in the house. But before I get to that, let's just wish Brandon, the anime guy, and our brother, Stone Loki, well. They are both feeling a little under the weather, and they're not going to be able to be with us to talk hard, but hopefully they will be in the chat or in comments later on, and they can be with us in spirit. But thank you so much for being here, everyone. Ironcaster, my brother, what a great week. How are things for you, my friend?
I mean, things are looking a lot better now. I wound up dropping my phone earlier, and it just completely like shattered the screen, and then like the bottom half of it, like conveniently just enough to cover up my keyboard. It just looked like it looks like I dipped my phone into like orange soda. So my phone became basically unusable for a couple of days. It's fixed now, but
there we go. All right. Anime Night.
I know
thank you for doing feeling it.
I know the feeling, Ironcaster. I know that feeling. I'm doing good. We had a bit of an awesome stream on Sunday with Knights of the Anime Table, and then last night, me and my friend Silent Joker, we had a long discussion of Outlaw Star. Both replays are up on my channel. He has the funny thing is he has the remastered of the anime, and I have the classic case. And he was laughing. I'm like, yeah, laugh all you want. I have the Anime Legends.
That's awesome. Well, listen, those links are in the description, folks. You can connect to him, check out his channel as well, especially those recent shows that he mentioned. So that's good stuff. So tons of great folks have been in and out of here, man. Let's say hey to Stephen Ransom. This guy, he's in here. Obviously, Chris Persia. He's the great mod from the Great White North. Hope you're doing well, Chris. Thanks for everything. Matt hasn't seen this film in many, many years, but some good memories indeed. Lovely Sherry is a little tied up, but yeah, favorite Ghibli film. Yeah, I agree. Good stuff. Good stuff. Louis Sparrow's here. Good to see you, lady. Hope you're doing well. And Copa is the Godson's parents asked me what a good children's movie for adults. I suggested this. They raked me over the coals and hated it. It was the moment that I knew even retards could make babies. That's a very Copa comment. Indeed. It is time to talk hard. Yes, indeed. It is indeed. Adega, the mad doctor, is here. Hey, brother. Hope you're doing all right. Let's see. I don't miss anybody here. Adega's, they're jealous of those laser eyes. Indeed. Pat S., there you are, man. Rock and roll. Let's rock and roll. Let's do this. Let's talk hard. So, Hit that like button. Appreciate
So-
that. That's always good. Appreciate that. Oh, Nerdporial is here. And by the way, if you are not subscribed to Nerdporial, you don't want to miss that. I'll be on his channel on Thursday night. So he'll be over there hanging out for a chill Porial time.
Yeah. Nerdporial has some amazing content. I was happy to find the channel. I was like looking, I'm like, where is Nerdporial? I want to see his content. Well, there it is. And boom, subscribe, watched a few of his videos.
Yes.
He's a wonderful person, so check on over his channel.
Agreed. Luis says I needed a couple times to get past it with the book. Well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned that because I thought this was such a convoluted story, and then I saw how Miyazaki and the author had gone back and forth on it being okay because it's not. It's like the author totally got the two different genres and the two different strategies, and I thought that was a great way to kind of. You put that in the backstory with this, so you don't have that pressure of like, oh man, I bet the author, whatever. No, they were good. They understood. I was hoping you'd be more jealous of my world building than those laser eyes, Copa. Well, you know, we're actually envious of both of you. AC is here from Japan, throwing out the Sharkcaster emojis. That's how you do it, man. Get those emojis going in the chat. Love that. So, and there's Nerdporial's link for those of you who are not subscribed. Yes, couldn't remember anymore. He has been the GOAT when it comes to my Star Trek TOS rewatches. He gave me the whole schedule by production, so it keeps me in the proper timeline order for a noob like me. So every Monday has been my Star Trek TOS rewatch reactions. You get to see Pops, the noob, on something that's not my area of expertise, but I am gladly to do some homework. I am gladly to watch that and see. So, yeah, good stuff. Good stuff. So, Ironcaster, you said you hadn't watched this in a long time. First impressions.
Right. This is one of those classic films. I mean, the thing is, it's kind of tough to like talk about. Just at times, it's tough to just go into just for one of these Studio Ghibli films, because once you touch on one, it's like, okay, yeah, this is great. I love all these other ones too, and it quickly turns into a conversation about sort of them all. The thing is, a lot of Studio Ghibli films, the works of Hayao Miyazaki, they do tend to have a lot of similar elements to them. They tend to have these, hopeful stories of, young female leads more often than not, which is beloved. And I was absolutely delighted to come back to this and, get to kind of revisit this and kind of parse out this film apart from, say, Nazca, The Valley of the Wind, or from Spirited Away.
Yeah, I'm real familiar with Spirited Away, and I can agree with some of the tropes, right? Miyazaki would be, he loves flight, he loves strong female leads. He's kind of a anti-war pacifist, so some of those kind of elements show up from time to time. So a lot of that kind of stuff, and I love just this world of witches and wizards, and not like a whole bunch of exposition trying to explain things to me. They just showed me some things, and you just kind of keep going along with it the best you can. And I can get that, Copa. What your godparents, your child's godparents were saying is they probably just didn't want to spend the mental energy it took to, enjoy the ride for the storytelling. Because I thought that's what was one of the richest elements of this. So, how does this win rank for you, Anime Night?
It's up there in my top 10. Actually, it's up there along with the Miyazaki films from Porco Rosso to The Cat Returns to The Castle in the Sky to Kiki's Delivery Service to Nazca, Valley of the Wind to Princess Mononoke, and so on and so forth.
It becomes a big issue to sort of really find the one that you view as your favorite, because they're all so
good, and they're good.
So they're also whimsical, and like it's like each one takes you to this like fantastical world of just the most beautiful scenery.
Well, I can't wait. Pull this up, Ironcaster. If you want me to share it, I can. But we'll get to some of that imagery. That was my first impression. Was just the castles. The movie starts off by just teasing a Pops. Right, I was right. So when this started, and this is what's coming across the screen, I knew automatically. All right, I'm in fun time. I'm in fun time. Mrs. Pops was constantly catching me watch this. Yeah, the amount of detail and intricacies of the machinery for this thing was just breathtaking and made me so happy on the inside.
Ain't it crazy? That's all hand drawn. Ain't that crazy?
It's the way it used to be
Look
done,
at
my
all
friend.
that.
That's what's glorious about
Look
it.
at all that. I mean,
Mountain edges and stuff like that. Yeah, it's just incredible. Lovely Sherry is throwing some love for the audiobook. That's good to know. And yeah, Copa's always going to be a big fan of like that myself. We love the world building. Princess Mononoke is still the best for me. And fantastic thing is Christian Bale. Yeah, Christian Bale voice. Ironcaster, you talked about this last week that the American voice cast for this was very good, and I have to concur. This was really, really a top-notch group, and I got to admit, there's some big names in there. I know everybody's going to be like all about Christian Bale and such, but reality is there's other members of this cast that I want to throw some love on, because Lauren Bacall and Gene Simmons are just classic actresses. They're famous. They're incredible talents. So it's great to see that. So yeah, my first impression was just like what you were saying, Anime Night. The detail, the time being spent on making sure that I had all those intricacies in there for me. I was loving it.
Yeah, because it's just so amazing how, like, you're correct, all the time effort, because when you see it on the screen, like after everything, as an artist, you would have to be proud to see all of that. Like, there's the scene I made. Like, you gotta be giddy and everything to see all that come to life.
One of the things that always stands out with me is in a lot of these Studio Ghibli films, you're getting a big contrast between the nature and the industrial, where we're going from these beautiful like mountains landscapes to just being juxtaposed against the harshness of the city life, of the big giant smokestacks of smoke from every building.
Well, I know that he was inspired because I was reading up, trying to catch up, so I don't feel like quite the noob, right? So I love to do this kind of stuff. So I know he was very inspired because of the Iraq War and the things that were going on there. But this felt very much the way some very well done historical pieces for World War I, where this industrialization comes in, and you have this stark contrast of the war zone versus the non-war zone. And that's where a lot of this movie felt like for me. Like, there's a war going on, but then in a lot of ways, it's the convergence of that with the contrast of that makes this story kind of go. Yeah, beautiful stuff, and very cinematic.
You're correct in that, because it's like a nice contrast between like the wonderful forests, the mountains, the villages, and then you go over to the other side with the full explosion of the industrial age, from the train to like the factories, smoke, the houses, and the iron bridge that lady's walking on. It's like night and day, and it's like, okay, I like both, but you do see the realities of it here and there. It's not shoved in your face immediately. It builds to it.
Yeah, I just couldn't really believe those shots like that you were saying. The last shot you had up in this one too. The details in the background. The intricacies are there.
Look at all that.
Yeah, we'll thirsty for this. Look at that. The way the shingles are done. The details on the texture on the side of the building. Then when you're showing the hat shop. The hat shop picture, which was perfect, by the way. When she has those hats in the background,
the greediness of like the flaking off paint on the side of the houses.
Yeah. When you go to the one with the hat shop.
Oh, yeah. I got a couple from there actually. So let me.
You had the one with that. Yeah, like that one right there. This one actually kind of looked like a puzzle to me. You ever put like puzzles together, and there's like it felt like a puzzle.
It does. That's what's that's what's so crazy about it. It's like all that intricate detail. It feels like a puzzle. Like you just completed the whole puzzle, and it's so detailed. Like right up to the feathers, right up to the rim of the hat, the reflection off the sunflower and everything.
Well, even with that, it is kind of touching on some of these old elements of sort of this sort of Victorian era society, where part of it would be just I pull up another image here, just more and more elaborate hats. for women. Like that was absolutely a thing.
Yeah,
Well, they do such a
it's
good
to
job
the
of
style.
incorporating that. Yeah.
It's to the style at the time, like as Pops mentioned, like the Victorian era and everything. It matches it to a T, and it's like, oh, okay, because the people never heard of the Victorian era, and then this appears. It's like, oh, okay, so that's what how the Victorians dressed up back in that era. Really well done. I can't get over the crazy hats, though. I still can't get over it. I'm like, darn it, now I want one.
So I suppose we should probably lay a little bit of groundwork to kind of talk about it a little bit. There's kind of there's vague kind of idea of this like seemingly far off war that's going on as a princess seemingly disappeared. So the nation itself is beginning to build the buildup of war as kind of reflected at when this was kind of made, which was like the 2003 Iraqi invasion, which I didn't quite realize, watching it all those years ago, that was meant to parallel real life.
Yeah, he was definitely inspired to create something that had some commentary of which we'll get on, I think, through the story. I want to speak to it a little bit more because it really hit home for me. But what I like about this too, again, because you have that, like you said, the comments about war, and then of course Howl's Moving Castle, which we see in the opening sequence, and then they're going to briefly have this exchange about eating the hearts of good-looking women and those kinds of things that are kind of coming to play. So you have this sort of like mystery that surrounds Howl and whatever his moving castle is and whatever its function and role is in this universe. We just get a lot of conversation that just we either see things happening or we have these just vague things that just makes us interested. Look at that. That is just fantastic. Love that shot.
The best part is because it's all hand done. It's not a simple copy paste job of just taking the same 3 or 4 background characters and moving them over like 3 inches.
No, it's not, because as the scene progresses, you see like different characters here and there. The confetti is still the same. The confetti is like real easy to just like keep it going and everything, but the flags are all there. Everybody's not in a standstill. It pans and you see like all different faces and ones you've never seen, and then the transitions. See, look at that. Look at all of that. That is definitely French. That's definitely French inspired. I could see the outfits at the time, like the uniform at the time. This was at like right before World War One. Like right there. That's the colors of the French army.
Yeah, there was a moment where you could see, I think it was during the naval scene with the boats, you could see different flags. And you can see different flags and things like that. But it never consumes me, though. I never got caught up into what war is this supposed to be and who are the different factions. And this felt just like enough of a hybrid of a universe of everything that I was able to be involved without having to get like distracted or caught up in any divisive opinions of anything like that. And yes, hail to Leia Rose, Princess Leia Rose is here. Thank you so much. Folks, if you haven't figured it out, I'm battling a sinus infection again. So that was a talk backstage. We were discussing my health. So I'm doing better. Thank you guys. But the French army wore red pants, hide there. Yes, there we go. Thank you, Copa. You got me. I almost read the whole thing.
Here you go.
Boy, well, that's no way to describe it.
Yes. He just shows up and takes advantage of the situation to get her out of a awkwardness. And I like this a lot. Really good.
I love how angry they get that they've been outplayed. They're like, darn it. But that's the presence Howl has. Like, we don't know who he is just yet, but you feel the presence of him. Like, you feel it. Like, whoa, who is this guy? I feel a lot of charisma from this guy.
And the thing is, this is based on a novel, which I believe of sort of this genre does tend to have a more female-oriented audience, which does work to sort of play this effect of Howl is this man who comes in and sort of seemingly comes in out of nowhere, saves her. It's almost this knight in shining armor-esque figure who can, seemingly whisk her away. Literally,
exactly.
like,
And it's done.
walking on
It's
air.
done right. It's literally done right because it's not insulting. It gets the point across, and I mean, look at that. Look how much she's at first she's scared, but then she's like, "Oh, I can get used to this." And notice how gentle he is with her. Look like notice, because any other wizard could be really reckless and really just be like, "Oh, you'll be fine," blah blah blah. But with him, he speaks in a calming voice to her because he realizes that she's never experienced anything like this, and he walks her through it. And I feel like that draws the emotion. It's like, hey, I like this already.
Yeah,
this reminded me of, I'm sorry, my first impression is that, first time watching impression, this felt very similar to me as the Superman Lois scene in the original Superman 78, where he's going to take her for a flight and gently just kind of take her into the air. And you're like, what is going to, I mean, it didn't even, I got to be honest, in 1978, it never really occurred to us that you could just fly with Superman like that. It always felt like he would have to carry you in some sort of way. You know what I mean? It never occurred to, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I was too young to think of that way. But for me, when seeing that, I felt like, holy cow, that's so cool.
Or like or like in the, I think it was either Spider-Man 1 or 2, is in one of those where Peter Parker, Spider-Man saves Aunt May, and he sets Aunt May down, and she has a drastic change of opinion on Spider-Man. Like, you know what? You're not as bad as the newspaper portrayed you out to be. I thought that was sweet.
Yeah. Lovely Sherry says, Miyazaki said Howl's Castle was his favorite creation, explaining, I wanted to convey the message that life is worth living, and I don't think that's changed. Yeah, so I don't want to get far out. I don't want to get too far out over my skis here, Sherry, but this is one of my things about becoming, I don't want to get too political or anything like that, but where I think Miyazaki and I both agree is, wars are run by people who are comfortably in their air conditioning and eating all their meals. And then it's like troops and stuff's thrown out there and innocent people get caught in the crossfire. And this movie kind of really portrays all of that sort of like contradiction of this, the puppeteers versus the regular people and all of this disregard for life and things like that. So the film really does such a great job of having a commentary, all that, without it being like in your face. And again, I go back to what I said earlier. You guys were talking about the flags. I know France was mentioned, of course. But just the fact that it didn't become like something by name that might garnish some sort of divisiveness. It just didn't do that.
Well, I will
never get used to that. I will never, not ever get used to that.
I never knew. I didn't even know what was going on when all this was happening. I was like, what the heck? Yeah. Because the flying was weird enough for me. They just flew. They don't explain it to me. Like I didn't know what was happening. And now we have like, tar monsters and stuff. So I was like totally like, I was like, holy God, I don't even know what's going on. Like this is crazy.
I like the fact they all have straw hats.
They kept the hats. They got to keep the hats.
And the other thing is they're Kilroy. Kilroy was here. They've got the same like face.
Yeah.
DJ Ronnie G's in the house. Thank you, brother. Great to see you, my friend. Zax. Yes.
Hey,
Shaggy.
Zax.
What's up, Shaggy?
Shaggy.
Like Zoinks, dudes.
Like it's great to see everybody, man. Yeah, man. This is again the thing. It's like we wish that we could actually be together and watch these things so we could see each other's face. This is where IRONCASTER be watching my emotions going, I want to see Pops' face when he sees this part. I wonder what Pops' face was like on this.
No. See, we would have been having to stop it every like 30 seconds just to admire the scenery, the backgrounds.
Yeah.
Oh, I paused this. This took me like 4 hours to watch because I stopped and was rewinding and going back and watching pieces again and looking at like the set pieces. Look at this. The details of the pots hanging on the wall. Oh my gosh, I'm in so love with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, and this looks so organized. This actually makes me jealous of the stock of like the inventory at my gig. This is way cleaner and like way more organized. I'm jealous, honestly, but I do like the pot hanging in the back and the chef over there doing his thing, and the ladies just and Sophie and her friend just hanging out and everything. But also the detail on the excuse me, on the boxes. Like you could still see what they are without having to go like, what's that? You could still see the detail.
Is there a phrase? I know we refer, this is the Ghibli studio and stuff, right? But I always talk about how these are the films that I'm more familiar with. You know, this and the OG stuff like, you know, Akira and Ghost in the Shell and stuff like that. But modern anime has, or the other anime, not modern, just the other anime has a completely different style. Like the One Piece anime has more of a tradition with the what is there a term for that difference so I don't sound so weird when I'm trying to explain why I like this style more than that style? Because I'm not trying to be a hater. It's just that I enjoy this more than I enjoy that other style.
Well, the thing is, by and large, a lot of it boils down to just sort of the artistic style, because every manga genre has its own type. Like there's people who've gone and done these like collages of like, what if, you know, Luffy was drawn by Akira Toriyama or Miyazaki or Tite Kubo or and on and on.
I get a ton of anime recommendations, and as you know how picky I have to be with my time, I get a little. I think people get frustrated with me that I don't get around to watching certain things, and I'm like, well, not everything is for me. You know what I'm saying? So I'm like, I try to.
You wouldn't hear any frustration from me. I get it. There's so much anime out there, and people fail to understand. And the people who are getting frustrated with you don't have the grasp of like how vast it is. Like there's so many different animes out there in different genres, different styles, and different storytelling too. There are so many different ones out there, and yes, it does get difficult to like find the one that you want to review and everything, because not everybody's gonna be appeased. That's the reality of all this. Yes, people are gonna get mad, but at the same time, it's like, well, I'm sorry, I will get to it soon. I want to do this one first.
I have to admit, I do after learning so much in the last few months. I have to admit the fact that there could possibly be like an anime golf or an anime knitting or some sort of extremely weird thing like that. I would actually watch that just for the obscureness of it all. But anyway, Pat S is actually making a great joke, by the way. I just have to get to the Superman could grab a fruit roll off his S and throw it at a prisoner from the Phantom Zone. You learn a lot from these movies. Pat S. Thank you for that reminder. I love that deleted scene. That is one of my favorite ever from the Donner Cut. I love that so much. And yes, DJ Ronnie G knows how to rock and roll the emojis as well. Thank you, DJ. Yeah. Let's see. Good anime and modern anime. I do respect that Pops is trying not to put stuff down. No. Look, I got to be honest, DJ, Ronnie, I just call it like it is for me, and I gauge it against everything else that I've seen. I think I'm probably one of the more fair critics. My wife says I'm a nitpicker, and I'm like, I thought that's what critic meant. And I usually try to. And if you were stumbled across a lot of my written reviews, most of my reviews would say X movie gets 2 or 3 stars, and it has below it, it'll say add or subtract a star, and it has like a qualifier, like, you know, if you take a kid to see Despicable Me, you know, add a star because the kid's going to like it so much more than even I did, things like that. So. This reminds me of neoclassicism. Yeah, that's good. That's a good call. Hey, Bobby's in the house. Hey, brother. Hey, there was a pretty cool anime someone did called, hey, Bobby, shame on you for not knowing on Star Wars Day 2023, May Twit, you got to go back to the playlist, Bobby. I did an entire segment. We did an entire piece on that Star Wars TIE Fighter. So I don't know where that link is. We'd have to dig it out. But it's in there. It is in there, Bobby.
We'll go get the Rolodex out for it.
Well, Chris probably will have it in like 2 seconds. He and Pat Ass are probably racing through my archives. But when it comes to anime, just say watashi wa orakada. I don't know how I did on that.
Nice
a
job.
Japanese person with
Nice
understand. They're already thinking it would come to Westerners. Okay. I'm okay with foreign stuff. I just got to be able to have subtitles. So, and Zax will understand.
Oh,
because,
trust me.
I got the Indian hit today, Zax. So, yeah, fair critic. Your scores actually mean something. Yeah, I pretty much keep a pretty.
Yes.
If you've watched my videos, I think I have pretty much. Ironcaster has grown used to me now. I use a 5-star system. I refuse to conform because I don't want any fights anymore. I will, if I, I'll throw out a casual number if I was forced to, but for the most part, I try to keep things pretty relative. And speaking of relative, my brother at arms, a common idiot, Matt, my brother, thank you for seeing you, man. Awesome. Oh, great. Yeah, Star Wars Extravaganza. Troy Pacelli did an entire group on the holiday special and his action figure thing he did. We talked about Sears catalog. But yeah, tons of stuff to go in there. If you have never seen the Star Wars Day playlist, it is a full day of content. It was literally like, how long was I doing it, Ironcaster? It had to be like 14 or 15 hours for the whole day. It was completely insane.
I have no idea how long
It was like 6 a.m. to like 9 at night, I think is what it was.
It feels it May the 4th. Star Wars Day of last year feels like it might as well have been 10 years ago. Like I had
like 4 hours. I had 400 hours of watch time in one day, something like that. It was some ridiculous. It was insane. It was like hundreds of hours in one day. My chart was insane. So
what do you?
This was so good because this was so much of subverting expectations. I did not. This was so. He did a good job. He took me down a road, and then they changed directions on me. I love this.
The big woman with the big bulbous neck didn't set off any like warning bells of danger.
No, I mean I knew she was a villain. I mean clearly she was drawn to be the villain, and there's something. And she was sketchy from the get. I mean she's got the Bib Fortuna neck. And despite the fact she's got green eyeshadow on, I'm like, freaking, she's obviously a villain. But where the story goes with her character, by the end of the movie, I'm like, oh, I'm cheering for the witch. This is pretty cool. I like this. This is good.
Yeah, and then she like turns into a ghost on you.
Yeah, that part freaks me out. I'm like, what the hell? She can fly. Ah!
Yeah, there was some weird stuff going on.
He's so hollowified, but there's
but
look at the stark contrast between her and Howl. Howl was more of like the lightness and everything. This here is just like, oh no, I'm a bad guy. And I'm making you know it. She doesn't say anything. She just lifts up and flies right at you. Like no warnings, nothing.
And then, for the crime of like kind of being near her precious beloved Howl, like she goes and like steals her youth.
Oh yeah, that smell. That one was trippy. I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah, Bobby, I did. I think there's a video. I think there's one video I did on that, Bobby. I couldn't do it, man. Yeah, Cruella DeVille was a little bit of the energy on that. Good call, Ronnie. I agree with that. I think we're supposed to dislike the witch, and then they kind of, like I said, subvert our expectations that by the end of it, we're kind of like cool with the fact that, and I love the fact that Hal basically says that. Hal's basically telling the audience it was okay to like her. I like that. Yeah. She's the exploding head from Total Recall. Yeah, she could be, that lady could be her. Yeah. Loki Zardoz references. Good job, guys. Good job.
So I had to keep stopping. I had to keep taking screenshots throughout this because I'm like, oh my gosh, look at how beautiful this shot is of the kitchen. The ceiling beams.
Dude, you know, I was pausing and rewinding. This is another puzzle. This is another puzzle.
I would love to have a fantastic meal in that kitchen. I'm pretty sure the meals would be fantastic.
It would be the best meal you've ever had in your life.
You know, the funny thing about this is the kind of kitchen. I'm sorry, ladies. There's a couple of you in chat. I know who you are. Tell me, ladies. This is one of these kitchens where it looks great in a movie, and then in real life, you can't tolerate it because nothing actually matches. My wife would be like, freaking, okay, no, this has got to be painted. That's got to be stained. These can't stay like that. This doesn't match. This is not symmetrical. There's too many things on that shelf. This is exactly what would happen to my wife in real life, not on the. She doesn't care about the movie part, but in real life.
Look at this. I mean, the ceiling beams are all brown. This cabinet's green. We have this yellow over here. This is like a different color brown. It's none of it matches.
Nothing. Look at the pots. The pots on the fireplace are just completely disproportionately all out of whack. Like, why on earth were there's two plates on one side that are next to each other, but one plate on the other side? It's like, it's just this. If I showed her this frame and like in real life, it would stress her out so much. It'd be great. I'm the same way, but I love that when you were saying anime night.
This is something that would have been built up over years and years, and so they were just kind of replacing things as they went along.
Oh, Sherry, that's good. That's a good call. Bad or bad. This is just chaos, right? This is just
I
absolute chaos.
agree, Sherry. I agree. This indeed.
Yeah, that was good.
Oh,
that
man,
was
it's
good.
so beautiful.
Oh, that was good. Sherry, you made me laugh, so I'll see if I can make you laugh.
Well, it seems I've done
Oh,
it. Hopefully, this does not collapse. It's nearly.
oh my God!
Yeah, that was a great moment.
Look at the detail at the window. All that light coming in, everything. It lights up the room.
I'll go back to it. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, look at that detail. All the window from the light, it like lights up the entire room. Like, and it also the reflections and everything. Like, you do see the bars and everything on the window come out in perfect fashion to let you know that it's there. Just brings so much. It's so much natural lighting. That's hard to do in drawings and everything. That's very hard to do.
So you can keep going, Ironcaster, because obviously
Go
the
ahead.
witch has the spell on our main character. So now she's an old lady, and there's sort of like this journey that she's going to go on now to basically try to find try to find a solution.
She also cannot tell anyone about it.
Yeah, the curse involves the fact she can't tell anyone about it. But what's interesting about all this is, like you were saying, with all this detail, what it was showing me along the way, because the story was moving along fine. But because of all this detail and stuff like that, look at the way the contrast here is with the light. It's showing me like a passion and a care for the project that I don't normally get with some of the modern entertainment in particular. Even 20 years ago, I was surprised this was not even older than that, because of how good it is.
Well, you got to remember, actually, this came out a really packed year for the Academy Awards. This was, I believe, nominated.
Yeah.
It was. It was such a stacked time. It was such a stacked Academy Awards for all the movies and everything at this time. Because I remember watching this for the first time. It was month of Miyazaki on Toonami, March of 2003 is when I saw this one, because they did the whole thing, and that's how I got into Studio Ghibli from the get-go.
It was nominated with Corpse Bride, and it lost to Wallace and Gromit. So, yeah, tough call. I actually, to be honest, I think this is significantly better than the Wallace and Gromit. Well, I think it's significantly better than Wallace and Gromit. But I'm not trying to diss Wallace. So this is more like a very strong 8 to a 9 for me. And Wallace, again, it's a 4-star movie for sure. And then Wallace and Gromit is more like that 3.5 star. Like, it's so good. But I don't put Corpse Bride in the category with these two. Those two are way superior to Corpse Bride. Corpse Bride is more like fun, popcorny feel to me than this. This has a lot of weight to it. That is beautiful. My God, these shots are just magnificent.
I just love.
Is there like an 18-inch or 2-foot model you can get of this thing?
Okay, so there is a papercraft like version of this you can cut out and you can build it up. It is like 2.5, 3 feet tall. It takes like 65 pages to print out. But you can make it.
Yeah, you say that, but I outsourced my last Lego build to someone else. So, I don't have time. So I just wanted to show up at my desk is what I'm thinking. So I will find it. I will find something. Nope. I'm just shocked that someone hasn't figured out how to capitalize on the amount of money, especially with Lego. You would think this would be like one of these like 4,000, 10,000 piece Lego, something. Yeah.
I could see that, actually. I can see it as being a Lego set and everything. I do have the 3 characters from this movie. I do have them. Still in the box.
Super cool. It's so cool.
All right, let me pull up some. A couple of neat things, like once we get inside, it's with the way it's lit, it looks like a horror movie at first.
Again, I just didn't know what was going on. I'm just like, it was like I'm down. Literally, Pops watching this movie is Alice in Wonderland. It was me going down a rabbit hole, like, what is going on? Like, this is crazy. You know what? And I just love having that experience anymore. So, All right, where do you
Oh,
think
God.
anime would be today without Miyazaki? Oh, it would just be
Oh,
radically less popular in America, particularly for normies, because it's a great gateway. Because Ghibli stuff has been huge for the
yeah.
normie world for years.
Because remember, Japan had that crazy anime boom in the late 80s, in the 80s, and then we had the and then you had the 90s era where it really started to like kick in with like when Toonami was launched and everything. That was also another gateway to everything else here in North America. But I do agree, without the Miyazaki films, I do not think, and I agree with you, Pops, it would not be just as popular because you don't have it wouldn't have like the proper balance that it does now. Because we could look at stuff like this and still cherish it while also simultaneously enjoying some of the stuff from today's anime. Now, if it was all just today's anime, we wouldn't have like a way to like appreciate the classic stuff.
I think Miyazaki has his finger on the pulse of this style at like the Oscar level of storytelling. So, and I'm not trying to take away from Akira. I'm not trying to take away from Ghost in the Shell and some of the other stuff that's just classics. It's just, this is different. There's something very deep and heavy and metaphoric about these movies that we're talking about. And Spirited Away was like a big kick the door down kind of movie. I can't even tell you how many people who weren't really into nerd stuff and were like going to see Spirited Away. So it was a huge deal here in the States. So
Speaking
the
of which,
Ryan clip is gold. Oh, wait, we have a show and tell. Hold on. Wasn't ready. Oh, the figurines. Oh, cool. Very cool. Okay.
Yeah, they have they have all the different ones from sorry, my camera is crap right now, guys, but you can tell.
I can see the robot from La Puta.
Oh, yes.
That's very cool.
Yeah, you can. There's Kiki, and I think Laputa's on there twice. Nausicaa is there. Just so many different
and, real quick, let me pull up a couple images. I believe it was Sherry mentioned this Lego kit.
Oh my god, I want that now. I want that so badly.
That's super
and
cool.
then
there it is. Amazon has one for $280. How many pieces is that? Do you see?
And then the other thing I found was someone had gone ahead and made the papercraft version I mentioned.
Oh, that's cool.
This thing is.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Here, we'll zoom in. So I gotta ask Pops.
Yes.
What did you realize at first that going into it, like we were gonna have Billy Crystal?
Hi, Lady Mist.
No, I knew that. I knew he was in it because I put the. I think that had I not set the channel up, like if we had a producer that set up the streams and I wasn't involved with tags and stuff, I wouldn't have known. But because I did all that, I knew who the cast was to put a tag in for Billy Crystal and Christian Bale and stuff like that. So I only vaguely remembered it. Like, I remember when this came out and I vaguely remember it was Oscar. So I was like, I was covering stuff, but for some reason, I don't remember ever seeing this. And now that I watched it today, I definitely never. Well, not today. I started on Saturday. I've watched it over the course of 4 days because I had doctor's appointments and stuff going on. But yeah, it's incredible. Yeah, Lady Mist, welcome. And yes, totally get that. Cool. Wait, I found a free STL file for my 3D printer. Oh, very cool. DVD. There's the Lego set. And oh man, $12.45. That's how you do it, man. That's how you do it. Studio Ghibli merch in Japan are not as grand as people might think. A lot of the knickknack stuff. Oh, okay.
Well, I have to imagine on that front, it has to do with a lot more of because anime is so much more prevalent that Studio Ghibli just while is special, it just doesn't have quite as high a sort of bar as say it might be seen outside of Japan. Just because, this was 2004. Disney was bringing these over. This is kind of seen as sort of like the peak of anime for, I think, a lot of people. So this, like, these films here are like the cream of the crop.
That cream of the crop, though, that list gets really long, man. I mean, I know that, Pat asked me his joke about Ponyo, but that was a really good film. I saw that. The Wind Rises is great. I remember seeing that. Earwig and the Witch was just a couple years ago. So these are good movies, and I got to go see this Boy and the Heron. Everybody's loving it. So yeah, there's good stuff out there. The studio knows what they're doing. The little kid thing and the weird this was all strange for me because I wasn't quite following what was going on. Like, okay, I don't understand. Like the introduction was just was very abrupt and fast and whatever. And I love the fact that, spoiler alert, it does culminate with that hug moment about how I love you, and it was so good. It was so sweet. It gave me such a nice, victorious element to my story arc for this character. Loved it.
I mean, every wizard worth their salt should go ahead and have an apprentice.
Yeah.
And he's supposed to be that the child. He is the innocent child in this film, with a man who gave his heart to a demon.
Yes, it was good. Yeah.
By the way, how cute and adorable are these mice?
There was so much of this happening in this movie. My daughter would be going oohs and ahs. There's like a cockroach on the wall. There's mice, there's bugs, there's creatures, there's just all sorts of stuff. This is a lot of fun. I've seen my future son-in-law has seen this or not, because this would be a movie he would enjoy. I know my one son is into all anime.
There's an old rapper for some poker cards.
And if Zach is actually out there, or if he watches after the fact, Zach, I will eventually watch Attack on Titan. I did not realize there was like 3 seasons or something, though, guys. You guys are killing me with the quantity of this anime commitment.
The last season is like 3 seasons.
I know. I'm like, guys. Good stuff.
So we're getting this little build up and mystery with it, where we're being told that if Calcifer goes out, that Howl will die.
Right.
Yeah,
and we're gonna have to move. We're gonna have to move a lot faster because it's almost 6:30. Go ahead. Yeah, I didn't quite totally get all the mythology, but again, it was more like just information given to me. Let's just keep it moving, and that's what it did. So I did all right. I was along for the ride with everything. God, look at the set.
Pops, I can actually stay. I can actually stay for the whole thing. I postponed my gaming stream to later tonight, so I could stay.
Well, we wrap up about 7, so we'll kind
that's okay. That's perfect.
A little faster. Yeah, we wrap up just to kind of keep things moving. So basically, yeah, this is more like her trying to figure out who Hal is, what his role is, and all this. She's taking on this. What was actually kind of interesting. And I guess I had if I had an axe to grind, it was like, it's kind of weird for me to think that this young, pretty lady was transformed. She doesn't see herself as pretty, but she's transformed into this old hag, and she just goes right into housekeeping mode like nobody's business. She didn't seem like she even missed a beat. It was kind of weird for me, but that would be the only thing I was like, wow, she took to that a little too easy, but okay, it's fine.
But also, Howl just accepts it like it's nothing. Oh, Calcifer hired me. Yeah, okay.
Okay, was I supposed to believe he didn't know what was going on? Because I always felt like he actually knew what was going on. I never felt like he was in the dark about the curse and stuff like that. I always felt like he had a clue.
Yeah, that's what I always kind of got out of it, is that he saw it, and I mean, because he saw it, he knows. I think he makes a comment on a couple of cases where he looks at some of the others who are cursed, and he knows right away that they are.
Yes, he gets he does like say very little things, say few little, but you really know what's going on. Like, he says so much, but he's holding back that he actually knows. Like, he just takes one look. He's like, okay, I think I see what's going on here. He doesn't outright tell her until much later. And then, because he always knew. You could just tell.
So,
Sherry was talking about the books earlier, so she's saying, yeah, she always took care of the household. He's a wizard who can see right through the magic. He had his heart. I think that's why. Yeah, and you see, they're discussing that they don't think I can get through Attack on Titan. I hear what you guys were saying.
We got this little sequence where he's like going through, and he's like taking on this bird form to go and kind of scout on the war that's going on. And we're seeing that there's these wizards who've basically allowed themselves to be turned into monsters along the way, in order to benefit the war effort.
Yep. Yeah, and that's kind of the backstory that happens with the witch, and happens. We ultimately find out that's what happened with Howl, and we realize that the big bad in all of this is this, kind of a elegant looking witch who's got a very, pretty demeanor, and she is just an absolute monster on the inside. And I like that a lot. This is really good.
And just to show you like the total night and day difference here. Here's the one shot in with like now that it's been all cleaned up, and then again at night. Just the total difference this has made.
Mhm.
In fact, like change it back to it. It's like even all the dishes are done.
Yep. Yeah, the tile in the background, the bottles on the shelf. It's just beautiful stuff. So. Jump ahead a little bit because we got to get to the doors and show some of the different environments and things like that.
Okay, so let's jump ahead to where they decide to go back to the Capitol, and oh, look who happens to be here.
Yeah,
I can't believe she fits that tiny thing. That baffled my mind so badly. I couldn't help but laugh. I was like, "Jeez."
I actually kind of like this because I felt like it was kind of funny. She's so blobular that she just sort of like would spill out of this little thing. It's awesome.
Yep. But then because like there's like magic that stops her from being able to like just use the henchman to go up, has to like walk up, and she's like getting more and more out of shape as she goes.
Oh yeah, she completely is like aging. Like she's just melting in the sun or something. I didn't even totally understand what was happening. I just was watching this thing unravel. Like I didn't know. I didn't know if she was having a problem because of the sun. I didn't know what was happening. But like by the time you get there, she basically is just like the melted blob in this chair. It was great. There we go.
Which then brings us to meeting with the head wizard of the kingdom.
And I like the fact that the dog was on the bad team. They tricked me. I was all about the dog, and next thing you know,
I was rooting for the doggy. That dog was adorable. I'm like,
and then
oh,
later,
yay.
The dog's in the family, and like Hal tells the audience it's all okay. I'm like, oh, thank you, buddy. All right, appreciate this. So the carriage is bigger on the inside, kind of like a TARDIS, maybe. Yeah. And it was so funny that Sophie thought Hal turned into the dog. I did too, Sherry. I did too. I didn't know.
Hilarious.
She told me that's what she thought. I was like, yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
So it's through this that we see when Sophie's talking about how she's feeling more confident and more self-assured, she's able to kind of break through this curse that's on her, and she's able to sort of regain that youth. And I know that in the book there's kind of more to it than that she actually is able to a degree have control of that, but we got to kind of go with what's on screen, and that is one of the unfortunate things is that there is.
I thought it was because the witch could see her for who she really is. Like again, I thought this was kind of like she could see that she really was the young woman and not the old lady. That's what I thought was happening here. So I kind of misconstrued this a little bit.
That's an interesting interpretation.
That's a very interesting one. I never heard it in that detail though. That's very interesting.
That's why I thought Hal could just see through magic too. I just felt like, well, because of her countenance has changed a couple of times, and I thought, well, the only explanation for that is that they're powerful people or powerful witches, wizards, whatever entities, and they can see through who she really is, and the blob lady can't. It was almost like creating a power set for me, so I knew who was powerful, who was not.
So I like the misdirect here where Hal shows up as the king. Like us, I've had a change of heart. We're going to put it into this wall.
I did not know what was happening until the big reveal that it was really Hal. I was like, oh, cool. All right. Well, that's interesting. No, it's not the dog. That's okay. All right, cool.
We get this like crazy bit where like the big witch is using her magic to attack them, and you get these little hints then of sort of what was going on.
Yeah, it's good. And again, we end up with more journey now with Hal and Sophie and all that stuff and the animation changes over and over again. I just love all this. That was great.
And not only that, Howl starts changing too.
The transformation stuff gets really good. Yeah.
And of course, with it, we have to have the witch and the dog who decide to tag along, because that's, almost almost a little trope in itself for Ghibli films.
I'm with
like,
you,
especially
Anime
the
Night.
animals.
This dog was the best. This dog was the best.
Look at that face. Look at that face. He's just like, I'm just along for the ride. I just don't care what's happening. Hold me.
Yeah, Ghibli Studios is missing out on why there's not like a mass market of stuffed animals with this dog and Halloween costumes and stuff like that. This is just this movie just lends itself to, I don't want to say an Americanization, but just a bigger embrace by American audiences.
So they make the big break for it, and Howl has to keep fighting, but the more he's used his magic, the more he's starting to lose himself to the beast. And the thing is, like, we're seeing these little bits here or there where we're seeing Sophie as she actually is, which I feel like kind of goes in the face of that, what you were saying about them seeing through her magic.
Oh, this was a dream sequence. Isn't this the dream sequence?
Was it a dream?
Yeah.
I thought this all.
I think this is the dream sequence, because I was confused of all get out, and then it's like she woke up and I was like, oh crap, it was a dream. Okay, that makes sense. But her being like this, it didn't make any sense.
It is the dream sequence, because because we don't know that she's actually asleep until she wakes up, and it's like, oh, then it was a dream sequence. Because she knows. Because she's basically
her imagination of what she saw is so much worse. And I'm not sure he ever really is this bad. It's kind of how I took it all. It's like her imagination of what she saw of how he was transforming into this monster. She has this nightmare of finding him like this. That's what I thought was happening. Either way, it's going to work for me because I'm good. Because she wakes up and he's just like, hey, what's going on, everybody? And his look changes throughout this entire movie. It was really,
as I
on
understand
purpose,
it, Howl's supposed to be this very like flamboyant character who spends hours and hours in the bathroom priming himself, making himself look nice and proper to be able to be attractive to women. So when Sophie moved all his chemicals around, his hair turns orange, and it's. I love
how pissed off he got with that. I could tell, because I know some people who are much like that. The minute you change something in there, they will freak out. It is hilarious to watch, but at the same time, very scary.
There we go.
See.
Yeah, this gets crazy, and then I don't know if this is the part where he turns into like green goo. He has like a Ghostbusters goo, and yeah.
I could hear I could just hear him yelling in this scene. I can just hear the voice going.
So for me, this scene, one of the things they accomplished with this whole sequence, and you can keep going, I don't want to slow us down, but is that they basically give us a little bit of a breather. They give us some, I don't want to say comic relief, but they give us a little bit of a breather from the tension of the monster sequence. So we know that this is kind of what his real appearance is kind of like, and it's pretty shocking. Well, we're going to do a little bit of he is also this metrosexual that's covered in Ghostbuster goo. It kind of looks like a girl half the time, but it's okay.
Then we've got like the plane that was flying overhead that started pooping out the little monsters.
Oh yeah, that was creepy. That was creepy. I'm like, is that thing shitting out what I think it is? Because it's just so weird and funny at the same time. Like, but then you realize it's the bad guys. It's like, oh shit, they really are doing that. Oh no, we're in trouble. But I love the airships still. I love how the airships look and everything.
So, because Howl's supposed to report to the castle to basically be a wizard for the war, and he refuses to join them, he's now being hunted for refusing to join in the fight.
Yeah, you're either with us or you're against us, which is very much the anti-war trope that Miyazaki has definitely got in this movie over and over and over again. Brilliantly done without ever being on the nose. Again, back to what Copa said, where the normies didn't understand this movie. It was way too metaphorical for them. They don't understand.
Well, especially considering this would have been like 2003, 2004, when like at the peak of that like pro-war sort of effort.
This was a very much this was the in the streets. I know you guys are younger than me, but I'm telling you what, that initial Iraq war thing was, support the troops, but don't support the war. You're either with us or against us. Rhetoric was happening with different factions. I mean, this was really on the nose, but it's metaphorical in this movie, so it doesn't tend to get people or strike people the wrong way. This is the brilliance of this movie. I like Sophie's reaction. Him getting that. Me too. It's fun.
It's so hilarious. But yeah, you start to see like the grim realities happening at the same time. Oh, this almost gave me a heart attack. This scene nearly gave me a heart attack. Like, not the house, not the beautiful shop, not the beautiful shop. Oh man, I had the anxiety I had with this scene. Oh my god.
Which you then meet that with Jutsu Howl up in the sky fighting to defend them, as he's basically going full beast.
Yeah, this was crazy stuff. I love this. Fun to have this kind of action and dark element kind of mixed in. Yeah.
So Sophie has this idea like we have to cut off the the castle and its door from this town. Otherwise, Howl's going to keep fighting here, and basically until he goes too far. Calcifer needs something of Sophie, be it her eyes, or in this case, a bit of her hair, something that she cherishes, so that he can go and power himself up, and he can like lift up the castle, and then we can get this like goofy little like little baby castle.
I thought that was an interesting transformation of the thing, but it also brings out another element of it. It adds more to it than what we see, and I thought that was really well done, because it's more of like, it's full of surprises. Like your curiosity is like, I wonder what else this thing could do, and then boom, it shows it right there in pure effectiveness. Like, it doesn't reveal it until this scene.
Yeah, this was all just done really well. Again, we have this back and forth tumultuous use of light and dark and up and down and sideways. We get pieces of things, and then you have these little things that are mixed in that kind of keep you on your toes and lighthearted, like with Calcifer, and of course Turnip Head. All that stuff works great. But then you throw in the imagery like this, where it's just like this hardcore air invasion stuff, very, very moving, and a stark contrast to all that. Just really, really like it. Yes, thank you, Pat, keeping things honest out there. Appreciate that.
Red is like the color of this section of the movie. It's everywhere. It's Calcifer. It's the skies of the war itself. And then of course we get this little reveal where the witch of the waste who's been depowered and stripped and basically turned into a frail old lady herself, realizes where Howl's heart has been, which is the one thing she desires.
Yeah, this was again, I was caring for this character by this point. Like, there's been such a nice journey and story arc with all the characters. Miyazaki it's just a masterpiece. It really, really is. It's a great film.
It's quite funny how like what happens with her and everything. Yeah, she loses her power and everything, but she's still aware of what's going on and everything. Like, she retains the awareness because she remembers who Sophie is, and she like slips these little tidbits here and there. So she is fully aware. She's just pretending to be like this forgetful, sweet old lady and everything. But I feel like, but it's effective and it's done correctly, and you do sympathize with her later, like towards this at this point. And it's like, oh, okay.
And so trying to put the witch out for, because she has that kind heart, she winds up grabbing a bucket of water to go and douse on the witch, which unfortunately means she's going to put Calcifer out, which means she's going to, in the process, harm Howl.
They did a good enough job for me, though. I was following everything very well. This film is a little bit complicated for kids, but it was good. It was good. They did fine.
She goes through the black door that there's like only Howl can use, but we wind up seeing it takes us back to like his past where he winds up.
Yeah.
Yep. To the origin story where he follows he basically gives his heart up to Calcifer.
I love that her hair is changing, different. Her countenance is changing. Calcifer is completely different. They just did a good job.
Mm-hmm.
And like we were saying earlier with, like, I think Sherry said it, Lady Miss, he made a comment about it as well, and others, but it's like that value of life, that importance of these type of relationships, these kinds of dynamics. It was really good stuff.
I mean, probably the most unfortunate thing in this is sort of the reveal with Turnip Head is really kind of crammed in at like the last minute possible.
Yeah, but it was fine. I expected Beauty and the Beast. I expected him to be a curse just like everybody else was. I actually, to be honest, if I had any criticism, his design was very weird. I don't understand the weird hairstyle they went with there. I was sort of like really kind of struck by like, whoa, that was not what I expected. I expected literally like a really good-looking guy to Howl, whereas he's like this odd, dorky-looking, strange caricature.
Or they could have went for like the more majestic, like full beard and everything with like the royal scepter type deal. But this is a bit effective. But I get why they did it though, in a sense.
But the only thing is though, he's a prince. He's not like a king. He's not. He should be young, and this does the trick for it. I don't think the hair is the right design. Or if they were going to go that route, they maybe should have incorporated it into the Turnip Head design.
Oh, I agree. Agreed.
And so with that, the movie ends. The prince goes off to like end the war, and the castle flies off into the sky, and our two heroes seemingly find love.
So okay, we're good. You can take it down. So if I had to have a negative, you guys can tell me where I'm wrong. The negative for me is I really don't care too much about the war. So it's sort of like in the backdrop, and I think I should care more about the war because he's trying to stay metaphorical and not be heavy-handed. But at the same time, this is more like just a character-driven story for me, where it's just witches and wizards, and the girl is caught in the middle of it, and a princess enchants. Everyone's got a curse and things like that. So I think that if I had a criticism, it's probably a little more centered around the fact that the book probably gives us a massive amount of more oomph, if you will, for the war and the backdrop of everything going on.
Yeah, I don't think you're wrong there. I think that is an angle that they probably could have done to work with a little bit more. And the problem is we're trying to fit this all into a like tight 2 hours. Like this comes in at like an hour 59 minutes.
Yeah. What do you think, Enemy Knight?
You weren't wrong in your assumption, and I agree with Ironcaster. I agree with him. Because you rarely see the war. Like it's there, like it's mentioned throughout the whole movie and everything, but you don't fully see it. We get glimpses of it here and there, and then it drives home the idea that war is bad. Look at the destruction it's causing, and Howl is like in this unfortunate situation where he has to go and fight in this terrifying war, and we see the aftermath when he comes back. We see it. We don't have to see the full war. We can see the cause and then the effect. I feel like that's what they were trying to do with it. I mean,
they're trying to be PG, right? Just PG? I think it's PG. That's why.
In a sense, yes.
I think it's a PG on now. I think I watched it on. I checked. It was also on Max. I think it's PG, and I think that would be the main reason why you have a hard time showing the loss of lives or the casualties of war without drifting too much into that. So anyway,
but that's where also Nesca Valley of the Wind excels in. Like it paints a grimmer picture, and a few other Ghibli films they paint a grimmer picture later on.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think Nazca does a much better job of that, of having that anti-war message. I think it's done much better in that, which is unfortunate because that came out about 20 years before this. And that was one of the Yeah, oh, absolutely. It is a masterpiece. And I think the next time we do sit down to do another Miyazaki film,
which movie was that one? I'm sorry.
Nausicaa of the Valley of the Wind. Okay. Yeah, I think next time we do a Miyazaki film, that ought to be the next one, because that was the one that I believe preceded the Lupin the Third film. But this has just got a great little heart to it. I think ultimately, you're right along on the journey with Sophie, and it's not even out to like have a big adventure of like we're gonna go save the world or anything. No, it's just a story about a girl looking to save herself from a curse and find love.
It's good stuff. Good stuff. Holy cow. Look at him coming. Scott Westbrook, thank you, my friend. $5 super sticker. Thank you for being a member and a supporter. We appreciate you, man. It's so awesome of you. Thank you so much. And yeah, it's great. Thank you again. All you members, thank you so much. And hopefully you guys have been giving me some really good feedback and interaction on having the member access early. So as soon as I get things populated, they're there, even if it's only for an hour or so, at least you get a little bit of extra access. But right now you can catch the What's Your Story that will drop on Sunday with Jacob Ironside, which I think it's just a fantastic conversation. So that's good. But thank you, Scott, for that. Thank you so much. That kind of, again, I know Loki likes to say keeps the lights on, but yeah, that's definitely a huge thing here to be able to pay the bills, so to speak, and figure out ways to reinvest it and get the channel to continue to grow. Appreciate it so much. But great choice. Thank you, IRONCASTER, for this being on a list. Also want to throw, oh man, where'd the notes go? The hat tip on who else had this on the radar screen for us. But there were others. It's not just IRONCASTER.
Oh,
this was definitely one that was.
I'm pretty sure Lady Mist was one of the ones who had recommended it.
Oh yeah, Brandon, Lady Mist. Yep. Yeah, definitely. So hat tip to you guys for your great recommendations. You guys are doing awesome. So that interview with Jacob is a not to be missed. Thank you, Zach. Ooh. Thank you so much for that. I think that he's an inspiration. If you don't know his whole story, that we at least shine the light on a little bit of it. I don't think we can do it justice, but he has quite the story and a journey. So it's a character story that is set in a war. The war is secondary to the main story of Howl's redemption through Sophie, although that may be wrong word, laugh out loud, still learning human. That's okay. No. I think that's what I was trying to say, Lady Misty. We're saying the same thing in a different way. Like, obviously the main story is the witches, the wizards, Sophie, Howl, the curses, value of life, bonding with one another, friends, family, those kinds of things. The war is the backstory. Like I said, if there was any criticism, that was what I was coming up with. I wasn't really trying to hang my hat on there to like make it some big deal. Just that is. But all in all, yeah, I agree with you. I enjoy the movie. Like I said, 4 stars for me. It can lean towards a half, like 4. I got you know how I am. It's like, let's see what the rewatchability is for me. I got a feeling because of the detail and the beautiful animation, it's going to lean more towards the 4.5 because how much more is there on rewatches? It's just a heavier and a slower paced movie than I would normally like for that level of score. So we'll see. I think a 4 is probably where I'll land.
See, for me, this one's got a little bit more of the negative kind of shining through. Like, I don't get me wrong, I still enjoy it, but I think it's kind of fallen down the list for me as far as Miyazaki films. Like, I think it's kind of fallen to like 4th or 5th place. Okay. I think at the end of the day, I like Lupin the Third, so Castle of Cagliostro is above it a little bit. Maybe just
I
like
would
the rank
enjoy
above.
rewatching that more. I could get Mrs. Pops to watch that easier than I could get her to watch this one. So.
I think at the end of the day, La Puta Castle in the Sky is probably up there for like in my top 3, right alongside Mononoke and.
That was the second one I watched in that month of Miyazaki. They played Howl's Moving Castle, and then they played. I'm going off on memory here. The second one they played was Castle in the Sky, and then the third one was Kiki's Delivery Service. I believe Nausicaa was 4th, and then Spirited Away was 5th. I can't remember where else it was after those. It's been so long
there's a few
ago.
other ones.
If I had to rank them right now, if I've had to rank the ones I've seen, Spirited Away is my number 1. I think it's almost near freaking perfect film. That's freaking amazing film. It's dark, it's heavy, but it's exactly what I'd want. There's just like so much depth in that movie. May not be the most rewatchable of movies, I get it, but I like it. I think Castle of Cagliostro I probably enjoy more than this one, but they're kind of in the same category. Castle is probably a little bit more rewatchable for me. Kiki, Ponyo, they're kind of in the next group down. Just don't enjoy them quite as much. But again, we're talking about like, now they're 3.5 stars, not 4. It's not like I'm kicking to the curb or anything like that.
So I think for me though, this is I think I'm bumping this down to about a 7.
Okay.
Like,
yeah, that's 3.5. That's fine.
Yep. 3.5, 7.
Yep.
Visually, this is some of the best done stuff I've seen for it. But I think that it's held back a little bit by some of the storytelling isn't. It needs to be a little more. It has the issue of trying to adapt this book into a 2-hour film. And I think the problem is we're losing some things in adaptation that would probably have benefited to have been in here. So,
okay.
I don't want to quite say it should be 2.5 hours, but it just.
Well,
it
maybe there's a way to, speed a couple things. Anyway, I don't know. But Louise says that Castle in the Sky is her favorite. Yeah, that's one I haven't seen yet, though. So it'll be on the radar screen over the course of time. And we'll go back to Pat. Now, Pat, listen. Halo starts in a couple weeks. And it runs into the first week of April. So we will be tied up with that. And then we were going to come out of Halo. We are going to go to very, very good things, which involve breaking Ironcaster's cherry to watch Aliens, because he has not watched Aliens. So we're going to do that. Then we have a bunch of others to pick from, which involve things like Temple of Doom and what else did I say earlier? I'm sorry. Karate Kid, Spider-Man 2, Star Trek 3. So all of that happens. That's going to take up all of April. Then we're into May. I have done a little bit of Kill Bill work, so you might have to check the channel. I think I did both Kill Bills. Maybe not, but I've done a fair amount of Tarantino, man. I've gone through at least half that man's library for the channel. So don't know that I really want to spin my wheels too much right now on more Tarantino. I watched the worst of it to get that off my list. So I watched the bottom of the Tarantino one. So yeah.
I don't know. Maybe we'll work in like an anime and we'll do a bunch of like animated films.
No, what was May? We had a theme for May. What was our theme for May? No, that was all May and June. So because June gets into Kaijun.
Yeah.
So the problem is we end up using April and May to get all this stuff done that gets caught up before you end up into Kaijun, where we have we're going to have a Godzilla movie and a Shin Ultraman movie, and then we have sharks coming in July. So, we have a pattern. We have a pattern. Anime Night, let me leave it to you. What are your kind of thoughts? I don't want to say a ranking or a score. It's up to you. How do you want to talk about talking about Howl's?
Yeah, our tiebreaker.
Howl's Moving Castle, I would keep it at a solid 4. It's a solid 4 on my ranking list. Now for the top one, I would put it at number 5, like in the top 5 Miyazaki films. However, that can change over time and everything, because remember, he's still pumping out the films and everything. And the recent one, The Boy and the Heron, that one I actually enjoyed. Still figuring out a ranking system for that one. But I would probably recommend this. Ironcaster, you were correct in recommending that movie to your godson. I feel like that's like the more safer one to introduce. Like it is technically, it does fall under a kids movie, so I can see like introducing that to kids because it's funny. It has lighthearted. The scenes are breathtaking. They would get so lost in like all the scenes and everything. They would just be like, "Oh, so pretty" and everything. And later on, when they look back on it, it's like, hey, this is the first movie that such and such introduced me to in the world of anime. It's like a safer way to do it in terms of anime movies.
Yes.
But that's where I would rank. That's where I would rank.
Good. Yeah. Sounds like we're all kind of aligned within a very degree of difference of some of it. So it's good. It's good. Very good stuff. No, I'm glad we chose it. I'm glad you guys were able to, talk us through this. And I had a really good time watching it. Like I said, I think what you said, Ironcaster, was probably on the nose the most. And that was the detail, the animation. You know how much I love all of that passion that goes behind production design and those kind of details and world building. I will say that this one also, I was never distracted by anything anime. There was no like weird anime sort of like tropes and things like that take me out of those moments sometimes. Like I love the stories, but sometimes I get taken out of these moments with the anime art styles and things like that. This movie is so much more, I guess, traditional cinema approach or something.
And, the thing is, like, this was after, I think it was what, My Neighbor Totoro. We'll have the story go. Christian Bale said, I'll take whatever I can get from Miyazaki for the next film. And he wound up getting the lead role of Howl. I think it was just kind of a fun story out of this.
Cool. Yeah, I thought that the Japanese voice guy is like a band, like a musician, like he's a pop artist or something. Yeah.
Oh, really?
Mm-hmm.
So the other thing with this for Christian Bale is apparently he was also like still kind of working out the Batman voice. He wasn't quite here yet.
Oh, there's a couple moments where I thought Hal got a little Batman voicey at times. There was a couple moments I was like, oh yeah, look at that. He's good working on his Batman. There's a funny line in which comic book did I read? Oh, it was the old one. So I was rereading Grant Morrison Batman, the introduction of Damian Wayne, and there's a comment about the voice. Nightfall also has a comment about the voice, and it kind of made me laugh a little bit about it because it's become kind of a little bit of a joke because of the Christian Bale films. Batman having to have a voice. I think it was Nightfall because there's a comment. Alfred's like, I think you're using your other voice or something like that. It was really kind of just a throwaway line in the comic, but it made me laugh. So yeah. It's a must-own movie, so you can watch it whenever the mood hits. Watch a movie just to enjoy. It will be on the radar screen of when I can find it at that sort of like primo price point that I like. Lady Mist, I agree. All these kind of movies are where I find something that's that good, to make sure I have a physical copy, and not relying on it not being available.
I believe Shout Factory puts out like a steelbook of this one.
Yeah, I'll find something. It's not. Sorry, I wish I could say it was a priority right now, but it's not a priority. But it will be something I will find. It's kind of like picking comic books. Like which comic book is bought next? I just bought a bunch of stuff, and it's like, okay, I got to make sure I got all that paid off, and we're good before I go shopping again. And it's like, well, wait a minute, what do I have to look for? Do I want a Predator #1? Do I go Aliens? Do I get another gun? Do I Gunslinger Spawn? Because I have Ninja Turtles now, man. I got a whole bunch of stuff you won't believe. So, this is
right on.
There you go, Steelbook, 27.
Oh, it's got that great little shot of them like kind of going through the air.
Yeah,
and then of course, if you do want to check out something else from Miyazaki that we haven't covered yet, then of course I'm going to recommend Princess Mononoke. I can't zoom that in. This is, I think, probably the premiere, and I think this might be my absolute favorite of them.
Okay.
Me and Silent Joker, we did a show about we did a discussion of Princess Mononoke a while back. I would be more than happy to dive back into that anime again. I would be more than happy to do that.
All right, it's been good stuff. It's good stuff. Well, listen, first off, let me tell you what. Thank you for being here and jumping in on the last notice like this, last minute. I felt like I'd feel better knowing that I had somebody else with a lot of knowledge like yourself and to join IronCaster to kind of balance out my my novice approach to this first time watch.
Pops, I will always make time. I will always make time no matter what.
Hey, listen, it's last minute. There's never a hard feelings, but definitely appreciate your time.
No,
plug some other stuff going on your channel, man.
Well, after I get off of this wonderful stream hosted by you, Pops, I'm gonna be playing Dead Space Remake. I'm gonna be working on I'm gonna be playing through chapters 3 and 4, and probably get to the beginning of chapter 5, and then I'm going to be taking a bit of a break throughout the week because I have to focus on work and everything. Wednesday night, tomorrow night, I'm going to be going on, I'm going to be over at Angela Straven's channel. We're going to be watching some AEW, or if he plans on it, depends. Friday night, I'm going to be on the men's room with a dear friend of mine. Sunday will be episode 63 of Nights at the Anime Table, where we all gather up, talk, and everything, and repeat. But looking forward to this again. IronCaster, as always, wonderful to meet you.
Pops,
nice to meet you. Big thank you for the invite and everything. I greatly appreciate like I told you, I would happily make time, even if it's last minute. I can easily jump on, no questions asked.
All right. Well, how about you, IC? What's going on, my friend?
Well, let's see. Yes, yeah. I'm doing the Mech Pit chat on my channel on Monday nights, where we'll talk about some big robot stuff. We'll talk about anime stuff. We were talking a little bit last night about how the moving Gundam statue at the Gundam factory is unfortunately being disassembled here in the next month or so. So you've got about 2 months to be able to go catch it while it's up. And as for tonight, I'll be over with T-Shirt Historian on his channel for our little midweek in Geek, where we'll be probably talking about, I don't know, maybe the Has-Been Hotel and what's going on with BattleTech.
Awesome. Right. For me, let's see. I got the link here. Let me make sure I hit send on this. This is the link to Jacob Ironside's channel, To Catch a Thief. We'll be on doing a nice Alfred Hitchcock conversation later tonight, about 8 p.m. Eastern time. So I'll be on with them for a little bit there. And then tomorrow will be a feel-good start to the day. I'm excited about tomorrow, guys. I have my Cobra Commander #1 comic book review. So if you are not on the Energon universe, let me tell you what, guys, it's pretty rare that I get to be this excited about a comic book right now. But Transformers, Duke, Cobra Commander, the universe that they're doing, the way they're tying, I'm still shocked that it's Joshua Williamson primarily, but I know Daniel Johnson exists. But it was I told my wife it made me want to buy another comic book. It's just I finish and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get the next one. Let me go. That's exactly the response you're supposed to have as a fan and a reader. So yeah, great stuff.
Well, I just sat down last week with Nick and we did a review of that on his channel.
Yep.
And it was such a fun read. And the best part is Nick is new to all that, so he's coming into it with a fresh set of eyes, and I'm kind of looking at it I'm familiar with some of this, not as nearly as much the Joe stuff, so I'm a little more new there. But it got me to go back and check out the back catalog. I'm about 25, 30 issues into the classic Marvel stuff. I love it.
It's incredible. Larry Hama is an unheralded goat as a creator, and a cool guy. I wish I had get him on. Then I also get to do my finale review or reaction to Reacher. Reacher wrapped up, season 2 wrapped up. And again, I get to have a high note, a positive. Like it was just a blast. It was exactly what you want, man. And so those drop tomorrow morning. I'm still planning on, I'm behind on editing. So I'm hoping that I can still crank out this. Should have my comic talk tomorrow night at 6:30 Eastern time tomorrow night. That will lead right into Loki's comic book roundtable if he's able to have one. I'll have my conversation with AC, Angry Canadian, and I pre-recorded a conversation. We talk about some different comics and different things he's been doing, reading, and things like that. It took him down memory lane. For those of you who don't know much about Valiant comics, we ended up down that rabbit hole briefly where I was explaining the Valiant comics timeline a little bit and some things like that. And then, of course, I think Left Eye Ego is confirmed to be popping in for some show and tell and stuff like that too. So yeah, my Wednesday night comic book talks have moved to the evenings, shooting for at least having 2 of those a month. So we'll see. Hopefully we're doing all right. So, but this has been a blast, man. Fun movie. You guys in chat are on fire. It's always great. IronCaster is also catching up on a One Piece anime as well. Where are you at on that project, my friend?
So I think I've got about another 14, 15 episodes to catch up on before me and Brandon will be able to sit down and do our next little batch of episodes for that, because
perfect.
I think I'm about 870 episodes behind.
Yeah, I think like 1109, I think, or something like that.
It's up there.
Well, I have a streaming service thing where he gives you like it just comes with the service I pay for, right? And it prompts you for ideas. Now, I'm not an anime channel, but this thing is always dropping in anime things. It's like reactions to, it has like One Piece episode like 1098 an episode. It's always prompting these suggestion videos to do, because it looks at your channel and it kind of knows kind of like the stuff you do talk about, and that's like the trendy stuff. Well, obviously One Piece is this massive thing. But it would be silly for me to jump into like episode 1100 and start doing reviews. I'll have no frame of reference.
Well, at this point right now, we're getting like the week by week. That's, I think, where the current episodes are at. So yeah, people want to talk about the latest chapter of the manga. People want to get in there and get all excited about, oh my goodness, did you guys read the next chapter? Like Egghead Island is the best thing ever.
Yeah, and that's what happens with everything. Like all that stuff is trendy stuff. So, but again, thank you so much, everyone, for being here in chat. Thank you so much for jumping in anime night. It's been great to spend time with you, man. Be on a stream together and do this. This has been a blast.
Yeah. Pops, don't hesitate to throw an invite. No matter what I am doing, I'm around. Same with you, Ironcaster. If you need a guest or anything, anybody in chat, you need a guest or anything, send that link my way. I'll happily hop on.
Yeah, let's plan something out here in the next weeks or so. Like, it'd be kind of fun to talk about some mech stuff with you and kind of get into a little bit of anime talk.
Wow, my work here is done. We've brought people together. My life is complete.
Look behind me. I mean, look behind me. The lights are not on yet, but right behind me is a few Gundam figures, and the one that's like hanging right over there, I have to tape it up. That is an Outlaw Star figure. It has the ship, Nalfina, and Gene Starwind. I fought tooth and nail on eBay. To get it. I won the bet by $1. I won it by $1. So I paid like $384. But it was worth it.
That's awesome, man.
Well, so real quick, speaking of bringing people together, Pops, do you mind blowing me up real quick just to show this off?
Oh boy.
So
sure.
We were talking about bringing people together, and here at Talk Hard, we like to talk behind the scenes. And well, Pops, you see, was kind enough to send me a little package. And well, so first off, he was kind enough to send me the Dragonlance game.
Oh, nice.
I texted you, man. I saw it and was like, "Hey, listen, you know what? At this price, let's give it a roll, man. Maybe you'll have some fun with it."
Yeah. The thing is, though, like, I have no idea. The one thing I don't like is like I have to like rip this open.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, I hate it.
Watsy, what are you doing? Why?
Maybe there's another way in.
Why?
Maybe you can use use a hairdryer. That's how my wife gets the price tags off from me. She's been using a hairdryer now.
But also, and we'll have this for a tease for next week.
Hopefully next week we'll have time.
We got a pack.
The Padawannabe challenge will be back.
And we have gum in there.
There is gum. There is gum. Yep. I think I owe Pat S a pack of gum. We'll have to make sure I check with Pat. I think I owe him a pack of gum from the
Chris,
stuff. So.
Or I'm sorry, Pat.
There you go.
Ironcaster, right. I agree with you. The box thing that is horribly placed. Like, why?
Maybe that's why that's why I was able to find it cheap. Somebody was like, I just can't break myself to open it, but I'll just take the hit, and so it worked out great, man. Merry Christmas, and hopefully you'll enjoy it. Yeah. So
yeah, I will have to send some stuff your way back.
Next week is Last Starfighter. It's going to be a fun flashback for me. I have not watched that in probably at least 10 years. I know my boys and I watched it when they were young. So I think it was, maybe 15 years. Maybe, that's probably too far. Yeah, it's been a minute. So I haven't watched it in a while. So it'll be fun to go back and watch that. And Mrs. Pop's going to rewatch it with me. So it'll be kind of cool to do that. I love doing stuff with her because we watched Wonka, which, by the way, that review will be coming by the end of the week. We watched that together. And I got another one queued up for her that she'll watch. So
I'm going to see that tomorrow. I'm going tomorrow to see that movie. So
not to spoil my review, but just say, listen, I had fun, and sometimes having
it's perfect timing
is
too.
Okay. Yeah. All right, folks. Well, listen, you guys take care. Be blessed. Make tomorrow a little bit better than today. Talk hard, and always make time to chill. And here's Bob to show you how.
Ross, all I do is chill. My life is a thrill, for real, Bob Ross. I be too calm for the drama. You don't wanna cause a problem. I'll solve it.